dioxins, chlorine residue, and traces of PFAS forever chemicals, all found in lab tests on the paper coffee filters Americans trust every morning. But reach for the wrong box and you are pouring hot water through chemically bleached paper, sending those compounds straight into your cup. If you have been buying the same filters for 10, 15, 20 years, it has all been going into your body. I am counting down 11 to throw out and 8 that earned your trust, based on EPA lab findings, FSC certifications, and what the packaging never tells you. Starting with the cheapest filters on the shelf. Number 11. Dollar store and off-brand generic coffee filters. You know the ones. They come in a clear plastic wrapper, no brand name on the front, sitting on the bottom shelf for $1 or $2. Your grandmother probably never used them because they did not exist when she started making coffee. They arrived when manufacturers figured out they could source the cheapest paper available, bleach it white, and sell it for next to nothing. The problem is transparency, or the complete absence of it. These filters carry no information about their bleaching process, no indication of whether chlorine or oxygen was used, no FSC certification for the paper source, and no compostability seal. The paper industry largely shifted away from elemental chlorine bleaching in the 1990s after the EPA confirmed in 1990 that chlorine bleaching produced dioxins as toxic byproducts. Most major manufacturers moved to oxygen or elemental chlorine-free processing. But most does not mean all. And when a company does not even put its name on the packaging, you have no way of knowing which process produced that paper. You are talking about a product that touches boiling water and sits against your coffee for several minutes. If the manufacturer will not put their name on it, that tells you everything you need to know. Those come from factories with no public identity. But some brands you do recognize sit on the same shelf with the same silence. Number 10. Cafe Brew, made by Medelco. Medelco has been manufacturing coffee accessories since the 1980s, and their Cafe Brew line of replacement filters shows up in hardware stores and grocery chains across the country. They make disc filters, basket filters, cone filters. If your coffee maker needs a generic replacement, Medelco probably sells one. The issue is what Cafe Brew does not tell you. Their packaging does not state whether the white filters are oxygen bleached or chlorine bleached, and it carries no FSC certification, no compostable label, and no third-party testing results of any kind. When the 2012 study published in Environmental Engineering and Management Journal identified chlorine bleaching discharge as one of the most significant environmental issues in pulp and paper mills, it put pressure on manufacturers to disclose their methods. Major brands like Melitta responded by labeling their filters chlorine-free. Cafe Brew never did. That does not necessarily mean they use chlorine. It means they have decided you do not need to know. And when you are shopping for a product that filters the liquid you drink every morning, the difference between silence and disclosure is the difference between trust and a gamble. So what happens when a brand does tell you what is in the box, but the information still does not add up? Number 9. Amazon Basics Coffee Filters. Amazon launched its private label Basics line to undercut name brands on price, and their coffee filters are no exception. A box of 200 basket filters costs less than most name brand 100-count packs. The packaging says the paper is 20% thicker than standard, and the filters are bleached. It does not say how. That word, bleached, is doing a lot of work on that label. Oxygen bleaching and chlorine bleaching produce very different byproducts. Oxygen breaks down into water. Chlorine can generate dioxins, which the World Health Organization has classified as persistent organic pollutants. The difference matters, and Amazon chose not to specify which process they use. There are no environmental certifications on the box either, no FSC mark for responsible forestry, no BPI compostable seal, and no third-party lab results. The only promise is that they are cheap and they fit your machine. Amazon is a trillion-dollar company. They have the resources to source oxygen-bleached, FSC-certified paper and still sell filters at a low price. They chose not to. When the biggest retailer in the country will not commit to basic transparency on a product that touches your food, the savings are not worth the silence. A missing label is one thing, but some filters were designed for speed, not for what ends up in your cup. Number 8. Brew Right. Brew Right is one of those brands you encounter without noticing. Their white paper filters are a staple in office break rooms, churches, and commercial settings across America. If you have ever poured yourself a cup from a large percolator at a community event, there is a fair chance it ran through a Brew Right filter. These are commercial-grade products designed for volume above all else. Brew-Right filters are made to handle large quantities of water at high flow rates, which means thinner paper and faster extraction. What they are not designed for is minimizing chemical exposure. Brew-Right does not label their filters as chlorine-free. They carry no environmental certifications. And because they are sold primarily through wholesale and commercial distributors, they skip the retail scrutiny that forces consumer-facing brands to disclose their manufacturing processes. The math is simple. When a filter is built for an office coffee maker that brews 30 cups at a time, the manufacturer is optimizing for cost and speed, not for what is leaching into each cup. Your grandmother's kitchen deserves better than the same filter sitting in a warehouse break room. If you are finding this useful, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I cover investigations like this one every week, so you can make better decisions at the grocery store. Now, back to the countdown. Number 7. Great Value, Walmart's store brand. Great Value. White basket coffee filters are one of the most widely purchased filters in the country simply because of where they sit. Right there on the shelf at Walmart, priced to move next to the coffee beans and the sugar. Your cart is already full. You grab the filters without thinking. That is exactly the point. The Great Value label does not specify the bleaching method used on their white filters, carrying no chlorine-free designation, no oxygen-bleached claim, no FSC certification, and no composting seal. The EPA confirmed in 1990 that dioxin levels in bleached paper products were detectable, even if below the threshold they considered dangerous at the time. Since then, the agency has not updated its risk assessment on coffee filters specifically. That means the safety standard most manufacturers rely on is more than 30 years old. Walmart has the purchasing power to demand certified oxygen-bleached paper from any mill in the country. They use that leverage for other Walmart products that carry environmental marks. But their coffee filters sit in the aisle with fewer certifications than the napkins in the next row. When a company sells more coffee filters than almost anyone else in America and will not tell you how those filters were made, the price tag stops looking like a bargain. Silence from Walmart is one thing. From a brand with the word coffee in its name, that silence gets louder. Number 6. Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee has been a kitchen fixture since 1972, when the company introduced the first automatic drip coffee maker for the home market. By the 1980s, almost every American household had one, and most of them used Mr. Coffee's own brand of white paper filters, sold right alongside the machine. Those filters are still on shelves today. And for a brand that built its entire identity around the coffee ritual, the product labels are strangely quiet. The white Mr. Coffee filters do not carry a chlorine-free statement on most packaging. They do not advertise oxygen bleaching. There are no third-party environmental certifications. The 2012 Environmental Engineering and Management Journal study made clear that chlorine bleaching remains the most environmentally damaging process in paper manufacturing. Oxygen bleaching, by contrast, breaks down into water and oxygen. Brands like Melitta and Hario state their bleaching method on the box. Mr. Coffee does not. A company that has spent 50 years asking you to trust them with your morning coffee should be willing to tell you what is in the filter. Instead, Mr. Coffee relies on name recognition to sell a product with less transparency than a brand half its age. Number 5. Bunn. Bunn has been manufacturing commercial brewing equipment since 1957. And their name carries serious weight in the restaurant and hospitality industry. If you have ever had coffee at a diner, a hotel, or a hospital waiting room, the machine behind the counter was probably made by Bunn. The company also sells paper filters for home use, designed to fit their residential brewers. These are thin, white, flat-bottom basket filters engineered for the fast brewing cycle that Bunn machines are known for. Water passes through them quickly. That speed is the selling point. But faster water flow through thinner paper means less filtration, and the paper itself raises the same questions as the other brands on this list. Bunn does not specify whether their filters are oxygen-bleached or chlorine-bleached on most packaging. There are no FSC certifications and no compostable labeling. For a company with nearly 70 years of experience in brewing equipment, the filters feel like an afterthought. They exist to complete the Bunn system, not to stand on their own quality. And when you are drinking 2 or 3 cups a day through a filter that was built for throughput, not purity, those compromises add up over years. Bunn's filters are at least consistent with what they are. A bulk warehouse brand with a loyal following is a different kind of problem. Number 4. Kirkland Signature, the Costco house brand. Costco members trust the Kirkland label. They trust it on olive oil, on laundry detergent, On vitamins. That trust is the foundation of the entire membership model. Buy in bulk, save money, and count on Kirkland to meet a baseline of quality. Their coffee filters ride that same trust. A 500-count box of white basket filters for around $8. The math looks good. The label does not. Kirkland Signature coffee filters do not state their bleaching method and carry no chlorine-free claim, no oxygen bleached designation, no FSC certification, and no compostable marking. For a brand that prides itself on transparency in other product categories, the coffee filters are oddly opaque. Costco has the scale to source whatever paper it wants. It already demands FSC certified material for its Kirkland toilet paper and paper towels. But the coffee filters sitting 2 aisles over carry none of those same marks. The company that built its reputation on giving members more information, not less, somehow decided the filter you brew your coffee through did not warrant the same transparency as the tissue you blow your nose with. Costco's silence, at least, is predictable. But some brands market themselves as the clean choice while hiding a different story entirely. Number 3. No-name natural and bamboo coffee filters sold online. These are the filters with earth-toned packaging, words like eco and natural on the label, and brand names you have never heard of. They show up on Amazon and at health food stores, priced slightly above conventional filters. And they count on your assumption that brown paper or bamboo fiber means clean. That assumption can be wrong. In 2023, Mamavation, an independent consumer advocacy group, sent paper products including coffee filters and bamboo-based items to EPA-certified laboratories for testing. They found organic fluorine, a marker for PFAS, forever chemicals, in a significant number of products that marketed themselves as natural or eco-friendly. PFAS are the same chemicals the EPA set its first enforceable drinking water limits for in April 2024 at just 4 parts per trillion for PFOA and PFOS. These compounds do not break down in the environment or in your body. They accumulate over time. The word natural on a coffee filter carries no legal definition and no regulatory enforcement. It simply means the manufacturer thought it would help you buy the product. Without FSC certification, TCF labeling, or third-party lab results, a brown box with a leaf on it tells you absolutely nothing about what is in the paper. If a no-name brand can hide behind vague claims, what happens when a respected specialty brand ends up in the same lab? Number 2. Private label white cone filters from regional grocery chains. Every major grocery chain in America sells their own store-brand coffee filters. Food Lion, Kroger, Publix, Safeway. The packaging looks almost identical to the name brands. The filters fit the same machines, and they cost about half as much. The business model behind store-brand filters is contract manufacturing. The grocery chain does not make the filters. They hire a paper mill, specify the size and quantity, and put their label on the box. The mill can change from order to order. The paper source can shift, and the store has no obligation to tell you any of it. That contract manufacturing model is the same reason these filters carry the fewest certifications of almost any product in the coffee aisle, with no named bleaching process, no FSC mark, and no compostable label. Because the grocery chain is not a paper company, they do not invest in the certifications that paper companies pursue. Your grandmother bought her filters from a company that put its name on the box and stood behind the product. These store brands put a grocery store's name on a filter they did not make, from a mill they may not have visited, using a process they may not have asked about. That was a question of not knowing what is in the paper. What comes next is a question of knowing and finding something that should not be there. Number 1. Chemex Natural Coffee Filters. Chemex is a premium name. The brewer itself sits in the Museum of Modern Art's Permanent Design Collection. Coffee enthusiasts pay $40 or more for the glass carafe, and the proprietary bonded filters are part of the system. These are thick, heavy filters that produce an exceptionally clean cup. The brand has carried an air of sophistication since Peter Schlumbohm designed the original brewer in 1941. Then came the lab results. In 2023, Mamavation sent Chemex natural coffee filters to an EPA-certified laboratory for testing. The lab detected organic fluorine, which is a marker used to screen for the presence of PFAS, forever chemicals. Based on those findings, Mamavation stated they do not recommend using those filters. PFAS compounds have been linked to kidney cancer, thyroid disruption, immune suppression, and reproductive harm. The EPA set its first legally enforceable drinking water standard for PFAS in April 2024 at just 4 parts per trillion. And here those indicators were, showing up in a filter that sells itself as the gold standard of pour-over brewing. That does not mean every Chemex filter is contaminated. It means the one sample tested showed indicators that a consumer advocacy lab flagged. And for a filter you pour boiling water through every morning, that flag is worth taking seriously. Those are the 11 to leave behind. But this list is not all bad news. 8 brands did it right. Here they are, counting down to the one that earned the top spot. Number 8. TupKey. TupKey is not a name you see in commercials or on end caps at the grocery store. It is a quiet brand that shows up when you search for unbleached coffee filters online, and it earns its spot here for one simple reason. They tell you exactly what is in the box. TupKey's brown basket filters are made from unbleached virgin paper pulp, with no chlorine and no bleaching of any kind. The paper is heavyweight and ridged, noticeably thicker than most store-brand alternatives, which means it holds its shape under hot water without collapsing or tearing. Their white filters use an elemental chlorine-free process, which substitutes chlorine dioxide for elemental chlorine. That distinction matters because ECF processing produces significantly fewer dioxins than traditional chlorine bleaching. A 2019 study published in the journal Chemosphere confirmed that ECF methods reduced dioxin output, though they did not eliminate it entirely. What makes TupKey stand out at this price point is the count. A 700 filter box of their unbleached baskets costs roughly the same as a 200 count box from some name brands. You get transparency, thicker paper, and a lower per filter cost. That combination is hard to argue with. Value matters. But when a filter was designed specifically for the machine it fits, something else happens to the coffee. Number 7. AeroPress microfilters. Alan Adlers, the inventor of the AeroB flying ring, designed the AeroPress in 2005 because he wanted a better single cup of coffee. The brewer uses air pressure to push water through a dense paper disc, and those disc filters are purpose-built for that exact process. AeroPress filters are tiny, roughly 2.5 inches in diameter. They are also remarkably thick for their size, designed to withstand the pressure of the plunging mechanism without tearing or allowing sediment through. The result is one of the cleanest cups of coffee you can brew at home. The filters are white and oxygen bleached, which means no chlorine compounds and no detectable dioxin residue. A standard refill pack includes 350 filters, and because the AeroPress uses only one small disc per cup, a single pack lasts months. The limitation is obvious. These filters only work with an AeroPress. You cannot drop one into a drip machine. But if you own the brewer, using anything other than the matched filter defeats the purpose of the design. Adler engineered the filter and the machine as a single system, and it shows in every cup. Number 6. Melitta white cone and basket filters. When Melitta Benz patented the paper coffee filter in 1908 in Dresden, Germany, she used a piece of blotting paper from her son's school notebook. She punched holes in a brass pot, laid the paper over it, and made the cleanest cup of coffee anyone in her household had ever tasted. The company she founded that year, with 73 pfennigs in starting capital, is still family-controlled today. Melitta's white filters are explicitly labeled chlorine-free. The company uses an oxygen-based bleaching process, which whitens the paper using hydrogen peroxide. That process breaks down into water and oxygen, producing no dioxins and no chlorinated byproducts. The filters themselves are thicker than most competitors at this price point, with microfine perforations designed to let coffee oils through while trapping sediment. They are kosher certified and available in both cone and basket styles for machines from 4 cups up to 12. If you want a white filter and you do not want to worry about what is in the paper, Melitta has been answering that question on every box for over a century. There is something to be said for a company that has been making the same product since your great-grandmother was alive. A century of trust earns a spot on this list. But one name took the question of paper quality to a different level entirely. Number 5. Kalita Wave. Kalita is a Japanese company that has been producing coffee equipment since 1958, and their Wave dripper is one of the most respected pour-over brewers in the specialty coffee world. The filter that goes with it is unlike anything else on this list. The Kalita Wave filter is a flat-bottomed pleated design made from heavy paper that looks almost like a cupcake liner. Those pleats are not decorative. They create air channels between the filter and the dripper wall, which produces an even extraction across the entire coffee bed. The result is a consistent cup with less bitterness and more clarity. The white filters are oxygen bleached and totally chlorine-free. The paper is sourced and manufactured in Japan, where food contact paper standards are among the strictest in the world. Japanese industrial standards, known as JYS, govern everything from pulp sourcing to chemical residue limits. You will pay more for Kalita filters than for a grocery store box. A pack of 100 runs around $10 to $12. But that premium buys you a filter that was engineered for a specific brewing method, produced under tight industrial standards, and designed to improve the taste of your coffee rather than just contain it. Kalita's headquarters sit in Yokohama, 45 minutes south in Gifu Prefecture. Another company has been making coffee paper since before most American filter brands existed. Number 4. Cafec. Cafec, formerly known as Sanyo Sangyo, has been making coffee filters in Gifu Prefecture, Japan, since 1973. But what sets them apart is the material. While most paper filters use wood pulp, Cafec developed a filter made from Abaca fiber, which comes from a plant in the banana family grown in the Philippines. Abaca is naturally stronger and more porous than wood pulp. Cafec's Abaca filters allow water to flow more evenly through the coffee bed, which extracts more flavor without over-extracting the bitter compounds. It is a different brewing experience from a standard paper filter, and once you try it, you notice. All Cafec filters are oxygen bleached and totally chlorine-free. The company manufactures everything in-house at their own mill, which means they control the paper from raw fiber to finished filter. That level of vertical integration is rare in the coffee filter industry. A 100-count pack of Cafec Abaca filters costs around $12 to $15. But you are paying for a filter that was developed by a company that has spent 50 years doing nothing but making coffee paper. That kind of focus produces a different product entirely. Cafec controls its own mill. You do not need a private paper mill to earn a spot this high on the list. Number 3. Hario V60. Hario has been making heat-proof glass in Tokyo since 1921. In 2005, they introduced the V60 dripper, named for its 60-degree cone angle, and it became the default pour-over brewer in specialty coffee shops around the world. The matching paper filters are a major reason why. V60 filters are made from thin, tightly woven paper that produces one of the crispest, brightest cups of filtered coffee you can get at home. The white filters are totally chlorine-free, bleached with oxygen, and manufactured in Japan under the same strict food contact standards as Kalita and Cafec. Stumptown Coffee Roasters, an independent Portland-based roaster, ran their own comparison test of filter papers. They found the Hario V60 white filter had minimal paper taste after a single rinse, producing a bright and very crisp cup with noticeable citrus notes. That is not marketing language from Hario. That is an independent coffee roaster telling you the filter performs. A box of 100 V60 filters costs around $6 to $8, making them one of the most affordable specialty filters on the market. They fit the V60 dripper because they were made for it. If you are brewing pour-over coffee, these are the standard for a reason. 3 of the last 4 brands came from Japan. The final 2 built their reputations right here in America. Number 2. Melitta. Natural brown unbleached filters. Yes, Melitta appears twice on this list. The white oxygen-bleached filters earned their spot at number 6. These unbleached natural brown filters belong higher. The reason is simple. No bleaching process at all. The paper is virgin wood pulp, processed without chlorine, without oxygen bleaching, without any chemical whitening agent. What you see is what you get. The natural brown color of cellulose fiber with no dioxins, no chlorine residue, and no bleaching byproducts of any kind. These filters are made in the USA. They carry a double-crimped seam that Melitta calls their micro-fine perforations, designed to trap bitter oils while allowing full flavor extraction. They fit standard number 2 and number 4 cone drip machines, and they are available in most grocery stores nationwide. The one trade-off is taste. Unbleached filters can impart a slight papery flavor if you do not rinse them before brewing. A quick pass of hot water through the filter before adding your grounds eliminates that entirely. It takes 10 seconds. For a filter that has been refined since 1908, carries no chemical baggage, and costs less than $5 for a 100-count box, this is the one your grandmother would have chosen if she had known to look. Melitta's legacy goes back more than a century. One company started 30 years ago with a single question. What if the filter itself was part of the problem? Number 1. If You Care. If You Care launched in 1990 with a single product, the first unbleached coffee filter sold in North America. That founding idea, that a disposable product should not leave a chemical trail behind it, still drives everything the company makes. These filters are FSC certified, meaning the paper comes from forests independently audited for environmental and social standards by the Forest Stewardship Council. They are totally chlorine-free, not elemental chlorine-free, not chlorine-free process, totally chlorine-free. TCF. No chlorine or chlorine derivatives touch the paper at any stage of production. They are BPI certified compostable, both for commercial facilities and home composting. The packaging is made from recycled, unbleached cardboard. Even the ink is considered in the environmental footprint. The filters themselves are sturdy, with a patented wave seam that the company says will not break under brewing pressure. They fit standard number 2 and number 4 cone machines and 8-inch basket brewers. A 100-count box costs around $4 to $5. That is competitive with most name brands and cheaper than some. For that price, you get the only coffee filter on the market that can document every step of its supply chain, from the forest to your cup. Here is what it comes down to. Check your box. If it does not say chlorine-free or oxygen-bleached or TCF anywhere on the label, replace it. Your morning coffee deserves a filter as clean as the cup you are trying to make. I am covering what is hiding in your paper towels next. Click that video now.